Amir Khan, why is he taking this fight?
It's a fight that moves his career in the direction he wants to move in. And it's a big fight for him, so why not? Take it. Because, it has a lot of significance, and that's what he's here for. To take meaningful fights that have meaningful significance after the fight is done, particularly if he's victorious. So it's a good fight to take.
Well, given, like you said in the press conference, that you know Devin Alexander pretty well, so I would think that maybe there's some more thinking that went into it in terms of this particular fight, or not particularly, or this is the best fight for Amir right now.
Well, me knowing him is just knowing him from when he was an amateur, and knowing Kevin, and we just go way back. So it was just an acknowledgement of the longevity and time that we've known each other. It doesn't really have anything to do with the fight, me knowing him. So, that question probably could be posed to both of them. It's a situation that could catapult one, and it's another situation, depending on how the fight goes and turns out, might catapult both of them. Sometimes a losing stock goes up too, so it just depends on the kind of fight and how it turns out.
You and Amir Khan, why do you think you both work so well together?
Well, every now and then you get a fighter that you mesh with, that your personality reaches, your methods reach. It's like man and a woman, you just have that chemistry, you have that connection. So we connected from the first time we talked, and we built on it from there. So I'm pleased with our relationship.
So, like in the past, when Amir hasn't done well in a fight, he's changed, like his team, which, that happens a lot. Do you have any worries about that, if that were to happen with this fight, or are you guys, it seems like you're a really good team, the two of you?
It's part of the game. The fighter has the right to change his team if he feels like that's the reason why he lost. Only he knows, but that's their right. That's why I never do contracts with fighters. I never hold them to me in no way, form, or fashion, because if you're not happy with me, then you can go. So that's part of the game. But at the same time, the fighter knows, even if he loses, if you've done the best job for him, as long as he's honest on how he lost. It might not even be the fight. It could be months leading up to the fight. So I don't know everything a fighter does in between fights. You never can tell, but again, it's just part of the sport, and if you're going to be in the sport, you have to accept that.
Do you think, Amir has also talked about how much he's trained for this fight, and how he's been much more in the gym, and is that something that the two of you decided upon starting to work together? What has been your impact, do you think, on his work ethic?
Well, I happen to have the number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Andre Ward. So, to pass on that knowledge to Amir that, you can't get good at anything unless you practice it. And just because you don't have a fight on the books doesn't mean you don't practice your craft. So, it's very important to practice your craft if you want to get better. So he embraced that, and, he started doing it.
And also with Andre Ward, that's been a really difficult situation that he's been out for so long. What do you think, of anything, do you have any words on that? Do you see that changing quickly? What do you think is going to happen there?
I expect it to change. It's going to change quite quickly as things are working itself out.
Well, also due to the death of Dan Goosen, which is sad, but perhaps that might expedite things a bit for you?
You know what? Since I'm not really on the litigation of them, I can't say that. With Dan's passing, that it would expedite anything. There's just some things that need to be ironed out, some matters that need to be resolved. And I don't think that would have anything to do with it at all. Our goal is just to get him back in the ring.
I think Andrew Ward, if I'm not mistaken, he had said that also with Golovkin, that was a fight that he would be interested in taking. What do you think about that?
Well, of course, he most welcome that fight. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, he didn't send that message through his attorney. That's not his style. But sure, that fight presents itself. That'll be a fight most definitely with Chelsea.
Because I think maybe, possibly, Andre would be one of the slicker people that he's been in with, and therefore, if he can't get to Andre, that might actually be a very interesting fight.
It'd be an interesting fight if he can get to him. So.
Well, yeah, that too. But do you think that Andre could actually stand up to Golovkin's power?
Well, you know, he's fought some real big punches, real big punches in the super middleweight division. And, you know, there's always that fighter that the punch just don't bother him. And also, you have to reverse that question. Can Golovkin stand up to what Andre does? So it works both ways.
Speaking about power, one thing that Devin Alexander was saying is that he thinks people have underestimated his power. And there have been questions, like with Khan, about his chin. Do you have anything to say definitively about that on either side, knowing both fighters?
No, not at all. I mean, that'll be answered December 13th, so I don't have to speculate. You know, it'll play its own self out, so no sense in me even going there, right? It'll work itself out.
What do you think is the thing that Amir really needs to look at with Devin and vice versa?
He just needs to focus. He needs to be ready to make the adjustments. He just needs to focus. He'll be all right.